Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. First of all, I would like to apologize for the 5 minutes delay. We had a bit of technical problems only because so many of you have registered. We have a record high number of 1839 attendees. Thank you and welcome to our webinar again. So the name is The Journey to Digital Transformation. My name is Christina Daniela and I have with me Jouk Pleiter, CEO and co-founder of Backbase, and we will both be your hosts of today. I will start with a bit of logistical details, Jouk, if you don't mind. This webinar will be recorded. The slides and recording will be shared with you within 48 hours after the closing. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so please fire away, ask your questions via the GoToWebinar panel or on Twitter by using the hashtag Backbase. I will make sure that we monitor that throughout the webinar. Also, a short note on the agenda. We will have approximately 20 minutes for each of the guests. We have Andrei from Touch Bank, and then we will hand it over to Antonio. After the keynote, Jouk will summarize for 5 to 7 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes we will dedicate to the Q&A session. Jouk, would you mind presenting the first guest?
Yeah, I think this webinar, thank you, Christina, this webinar is all about digital transformation and the journey to transform banks. And today is all about two real-world examples. We're very happy to have Andrei here. He's the CEO of Touch Bank. Touch Bank is a pure digital bank founded by OTP. OTP is one of the largest banks in Eastern Europe, and Andrei is going to tell us about the journey, why are they doing a digital bank, what it took them to go from zero idea concepting into go live, and also potentially what is next for them. After that, we'll go to Antonio. Antonio is from CheBanca. CheBanca is a digital-only bank or a digital challenger bank, initially I would say, in Italy, part of the Mediobanca Group, which is the third largest bank in Italy. Very innovative go-to-market model, but both gentlemen will elaborate on that themselves. Let's get it going, Andrei. I will make you the presenter, so you can go and take it over. You can switch and put your PowerPoint in place, and then we can start with you.
Thank you, Jouk. Thank you, Christina. I hope you can see my presentation now. Just a few words. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Just a few words about Touch Bank. As Jouk already mentioned, it's part of OTP Group, which is the largest Eastern European banking group. We are represented in 9 Eastern European countries, including Russia, where we decided to pilot our digital banking project. We recently celebrated 1 year of operation. In April 2015, the build-up of the operation started from April 2014, so it took us a year to build a fully fledged digital bank from scratch. We have 260 employees to date. We have no branches at all and no own ATM network, but we have a very nice value proposition for our customer to cover that. Our customer base at the moment consists of around 80,000 active customers. We've picked them up during the first year of our operations, so we're pretty pleased about that. And our main acquisition and customer services channel are internet and mobile, and we also service customers via a call center. We are very proud that in our first year of existence we received several local as well as international awards to recognize our achievement. And the product suite that we currently offering to the customers and have been offering from day one is current account, savings, credit cards, personal loans, loyalty, and some other value-added services. When we started our journey, the shareholders tried to fulfill several needs. So it was quite a challenging task for us as a team to deal with. We first of all had to obviously build a fully digital bank which would have no dependency whatsoever on the existing banking operation of OTP in Russia. That includes not only distribution and servicing channel, but also the full technological suite. We also were quite strategic project for the group, because through us they wanted to transform the group technologically and start also a cultural transformation. So we kind of had to fulfill quite a few desires. And when building the project, we faced with many questions, but I picked up 3 here, which I wanted to briefly discuss about, which I believe are applicable to pretty much any adventure that the bank wants to take into digital. So the first one is the digital transformation. Should it be within the organization or outside? Again, it is for every bank to answer that question individually, because it's highly dependent on your existing corporate culture, certain processes that you have in place, you know, the people that are employed, and how resistant or willing they are to change and innovate. When we looked at our operation that currently existed in Russia, we decided that although it was a very successful and still is a very successful bank in its own market niche, we decided that it would be best suited for us to go ring-fence this project and build it separately from the existing operation. And one of the main reasons for that was the speed at which we had to build. We only had 12 months to build from a blank piece of paper the fully operational bank, and we decided that the only way to do it was to have a brand new team, no boundaries related to the existing operation, etc., because all of that may actually suffocate some of the flexibility and the speed and the decision-making process and innovation that you're trying to achieve through digital transformation. Again, I want to underline it that it is, you know, for every bank individually to assess their capabilities. But looking back at our decision, we are very happy that we made this decision the way we've made it, to ring fence this operation and look at it as a venture project. The other thing that I wanted to mention is when going into digital, bank needs to answer the question whether they want and need to be a real-time operation and real-time service provider for the customer. In the following few slides, I showed examples of from my life experience being a customer of 2 very large UK banks, which are declaring publicly that they are moving into rapidly moving into digital banking, and very happy about it. And probably compared to where they were, it's definitely some significant strides. But then again, looking at the customer experience, it is very detached from the digital experience that the customer would normally anticipate. For example, you know, the onboarding process takes you know, weeks or up to a week. You know, the customers are issued numerous pins and no opportunity to have a unified sign-in for the client. All of that gives, first of all, the time to product, time to service for the customer throughout quite an extensive period, which in a digital operation, if you are truly digital bank, you must provide pretty much instantaneously where possible. So, for example, our onboarding process, you know, takes several minutes, and after that, customer automatically gets everything through email or SMS, and they have the opportunity to start using internet and mobile bank and some of the services immediately, and their banking product comes within 24 to 48 hours after the completion of the application online. Another example of absence of the real time is the transactional and some other financial data where customers make transactions using their plastic cards, for example, and they only see a reflection of that transaction the following day, which means that if you are an active customer and you're using your products and services quite intensively during the day, you end up actually missing out on the information as to how much money you have left, and there are opportunities, nasty opportunities, to get into unauthorized overdraft and things like that. So we believe that it is unacceptable for a digital bank not to have a real-time financial and transactional information. That actually is applicable to loyalty as well. In many banks, loyalty is offline. We are, as a bank, provide to our customer loyalty online, real-time, getting the points as well as using the points. Again, another example is the account opening. Our account opening we can do at a click of the button. Once the customer is in a mobile app or internet bank and they want to open another account in another currency, for example, a savings account, they can click a button and literally the account is open and can be used instantaneously, topped up instantaneously, etc. You can change in unlimited number of times online via mobile app and internet bank. You can set various transactional limits. You can block and unblock your cards. You can do instant money transfers through your contact book via card number to another customer, so via email, etc. So the real time doesn't stop just at providing the customer with the real-time service. We also use it, for example, in our performance strategy. Because we are fully online, we need to start following the customer as soon as they end up on our landing page or go on our website. Once they start filling in the application form, we follow them through, and if, for example, they drop the application, we have the opportunity through using our multi-channel campaign management system and other tools to immediately pick up a dropped application, call the customer or send the customer notification asking them to complete that journey because they've already gone through a certain process and it's just a little bit left, or we can call the customer and actually complete the application with them, and if they encountered any technical difficulties, we can show them how to complete that journey. So it is very interactive, and it is truly online, and we believe that it is a necessity being in a digital space, being a digital banking player, to provide the products, services online, as well as use internally the technology to keep following the customers through geo-targeting, through campaign management systems, basically leaving the journey with the customer pretty much every day. The last point that I wanted to talk about was the innovation. Quite often when people hear that I represent a digital banking player, they say they ask about technology, and they kind of are very much limited to the understanding and perception that digital bank it's only about technology and how much you've invested and what technology you have, etc. Undoubtedly, technology is essential to the success of a digital banking story. However, it's not the only thing that actually makes this this venture successful. And we strongly believe as Dutch Bank that innovation and the digitalization of products and services should actually be in products as well, not just the technology. And as an example, we've actually spent a lot of time brainstorming and creating products for the customer. We spend even more time and money researching with the customers whether they would use these products as we invented them, whether they would pay for them, or whether we needed to allow for some modifications. But at the end, we came up with a suite of products and services that, unfortunately, due to time constraints, we were unable to build them all in such a short period of time, but we have a pipeline of products and services that we continue building. Some of them I've listed already that have either won for us national and international recognition and loyalty of our customers as well. For example, we've invented the card-and-card product, which is literally a wallet in a plastic card. We all know about digital wallets that you can quite often encounter nowadays, but what we've done, we've put that digital wallet into plastic because we believe that customers are still quite accustomed to using plastic, and in Russia in particular, that usage is growing year to year, and it's important for us not to go fully into mobile, but to keep that in a plastic. This is something that's very innovative, where the customer can attach cards issued by other banks to our plastic, and basically design a certain ways through which the customer, we redirect basically the transaction from our plastic to at the time of the purchase to the other issuers, depending on the customer preference. We also gave the customer the opportunity to earn on their savings account, earn their interest on daily basis. So every time the customer wakes up, they open their mobile app and they see extra money on their account because we have a daily capitalization of the balance. We gave the customer the opportunity to actually use the money as they wish. So instead of giving them a credit card and personal loan, we give them a credit line, and they have the opportunity to select how they use this money, because the customer's life circumstances change, and if one day they may need to use a credit card, the following day they may actually need a personal loan. So in the relationship with the Dutch Bank, the customer would not have to apply for another product because they already have a credit line open, and then they say, okay, I use certain amount of money of that credit line as a credit card limit, and a certain money I use as a personal loan, and they have the opportunity to continue redistributing as and when fit, depending on their life circumstances. As an example of the things that are coming up by the end of this year, we want to extend our services to the clients into brokerage, because we are a fully retail bank and not looking to do investments. We are partnering with one of the large providers of the brokerage services by allowing the customer basically through our mobile app to do a live trading of currency, foreign currencies, and stock purchases. I guess that's all from me. I'll pass over now back to Christina.
Great, thank you, Andrei. That was very helpful. Also, for the audience, if you have any questions, there is this chat or question panel as part of the GoToMeeting control. If you have any questions for Andrei, you can type them there and we will address them in the Q&A. Also, for Antonio, who's next up, the same thing. If you have questions, you can type them in. We will collect the questions and then we will share them with the speakers and we'll discuss them afterwards. Thank you, Andrei. Now over to Antonio. Antonio is head of CRM and Omni-channel banking at CheBanca. I already gave a bit of an introduction, so Antonio, the floor is yours.
Okay, I hope you can see my screen and hear me well.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, I go ahead. Let me move this one. Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and once more, thanks to Jouk and Christina for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences on digital transformation. It's definitely something we all care about and we are trying to embrace. So let's start. So I will do a very quick introduction of CheBanca. I will do that in order for you to really understand why we started our digital transformation. So CheBanca was founded in May 2008, and as Jouk said before, we are part of the Mediobanca Group. Our primary aim and objective when we started was to provide a retail funding arm for the investment bank back in 2008. Since the beginning, we were one of the most innovative banks in Italy. As you can see here, we are a truly multi-channel bank with a different touch point. At the moment, we have 52 branches, two apps, one mobile app for banking and a digital wallet. The digital banking platform, which is something I will talk more through in the presentation, a customer service that does inbound and outbound, email and SMS, and the social media that are also channels that we use constantly to talk to our customer. And of course, the advisor, relationship manager, and now with the acquisition of the Backbase franchise, the Italian Backbase franchise, we will also have an independent financial advisor. We started in 2008, as I said, with a full digital acquisition processes, and we have now 180 people working in the bank with only 60 people working in the IT, a very scalable and outsourcing model. So very quickly, our strategy in terms of commercial strategy. The first phase when we launched in 2008 was based on building the brand awareness and focusing on the acquisition. We started with a very, very simple product line, especially term deposit and current account. We also did innovation on those kind of products because we were able to accrue the interest at the beginning of the term deposit, and the customer could use the funds already since the beginning. And in the second phase, from 2013 until 2015, we developed our product shelf. As you can see, I mean, the picture is pretty small, but we are now able to offer any kind of products that a retail customer, can try to find in a bank. The focus on this second phase was definitely on customer development. So once we acquire the customer, we've been focusing on the development of the entire portfolio and the entire share of wallet. And the CRM was really the driving force, the driving engine behind the customer development. Now moving on the third phase, so from 2016, we've been focusing on digital affluent client acquisition, and we are now even more focusing on customer value. We launched we launched a new service, a robot advisory service, to really start a stronger relationship with the customer. That also won an award last month, the EFMA award, and we are very proud of it, and we will and I will explain it in a moment. So our numbers, just to give you the full picture of our history since the beginning. So the bottom line is that if you look at the blue line, that is the direct deposit line, we are almost stabilizing at 10 billion of assets, and this is basically our primary goal, to be the funding arm of our mother company. But on top of this, you can see that the cost of fund raised moved from 4% back in 2008 to minus, so less than 1%. It's now below 0.09, and it's something definitely of a great value, because we were able not only to maintain the asset, because as you can see, it's stable on 10 billion, but also we decreased quite substantially the cost of the fund. From 2011, we started selling current accounts quite heavily. It was a big change, as I was describing before, in the commercial strategy, but also a very crucial point, because it gives you stability and it increased the retention of the customer. And from 2012, we started selling also investments. Of course, this goes with the different environment that all the banks were facing on the interest margin. investment is where every bank is now trying to make most of the money out of it. And we went from 0 billion to 3 billion in 2015. So that's the picture, and that's pretty much clear the trajectory that we want to have in place also for the next years ahead. So we were facing a challenge, and the history I'm telling you about digital transformation it is really the challenge we were facing in 2014 when we were about to to start our last business plan. And the challenge was okay, now that we are enlarging our product catalog, now that we are focusing on the investment, how do we manage to sell investment online? This is really for us a key element of our business plan and also of our business model, because we need to scale as much as possible the digital platform. So here in the slide, I'm just showing you the offering. So we started from Risparmio Gestito, which is everything that goes with mutual funds, and we did it through an open architecture platform that counted 1,800 funds at the beginning, and it's now covering more than 4,000 funds. Then we moved to insurance and structured products that are a mixture of insurance and mutual funds, or ETF in our case. Another example of innovation that we did and we won many awards was in fact that of that product that was a mixture of insurance and ETFs. And lastly, the robo-advisor that is depicted in the smaller picture in the center. It's again the robo-advisory platform is a service of advisory that can be purely managed online, or with the help the aid of an advisor. It's a choice that the customer always has in our business model. So in order to be successful selling investment online, we identified three main pillars that were those where we focus our digital transformation. So the three main pillars were, the first one was a new digital platform, a new architecture based on API, and the third one, a collaboration tool that could give the customer the opportunity to move freely from a pure self-service approach to a more of a help approach. So anytime the customer is doing a transaction or is doing an investment on the digital platform, and we are now focusing on the desktop tablet devices, but we are now developing the new app, and it will be soon also in the new app. Anytime the customer is doing something alone in a self mode, he should be able to ask for help and get immediate real-time feedback. It's something that also Andrei talked in his presentation, and we definitely share this common path. So once more, let me get back to the digital platform, because it's also a key project I was supervising and that we did also with Backbase. As you can see in the picture from the left, you have the old digital platform. It was very easy, very simple, based on transactional, because our remember where we started with the term deposit. That is a product where you put the money in, you just have to do a wire transfer from the original bank to CheBanca, and you can wait for 6, 12 months depending on the duration of the product, but you don't have a relationship. There were no banners, no interaction, very simple, very efficient. On the other side of the page, so on the right, there's a new digital platform that has the primary aim of entering into a long-lasting relationship with the customer, providing content, listening to the customer, understanding what the customer is really doing within the platform, both the website, so the public side, and the private area, so the digital platform. So thanks to the analytics, we are able to provide relevant, tailored content that is really pushing the customer to try more out of us. Because we need to tell the customer, first of all, that we enlarged our product scale, so that we have something to offer to him. And secondly, that given that he had a very good and positive feedback at the beginning with the term deposit, we are also now a good and a reliable partner also to talk about investment and to really develop our share of wallet within the bank. So that's basically the primary aim of the digital platform. So what was the challenge back then? The three pillars, we were in 2014, in the summer 2014, we said we want to be live in the 1st of September 2015. And basically, no matter how we design the usual waterfall Gantt or the usual waterfall chart, we weren't able to meet that deadline. So really, time was impossible to meet in our standard development way of doing the project. So we started with a recognition and a work awareness, because it's very important. We need to find a new delivery model, agile could be, because the standard waterfall won't make it. So my first takeaway about this transformation starts really in understanding that your current capability, your current way of doing projects and development isn't really taking you where you are, where you want to be. And for us, it started also from the top. So it's very important to be aware of that, and that the top of the company, the top of the organization really understand that. So digital transformation for us, and particularly for me, it's really the ability to quickly shape your business in an endless journey. So it's about changing, and it's about changing fast. I always make this joke, but I really believe in this. The moment that you say, I did something in the digital space, you're about to become obsolete. And, or as Jeff Weiner said in his email to his employee when they got acquired by Microsoft, he has this concept of next play. In other words, don't dwell on the past, lingering for too long on a lesson learned or the celebration of a special accomplishment, but rather focus on the task at hand. So it's always this idea of keep changing and doing it fast in order to be able to sustain your business and keep growing. So that's all about digital transformation. And in the next slide, I will guide you through what were the key learnings from my direct experience, and I will try to make some questions that that is something I suggest you to ask yourself and try to get out a real good answer before starting, because those were the kind of question that we faced during the project. So the first one goes again back to the point I mentioned before. Either moving from a waterfall to an agile to a digital transformation really requires that for the organization to be really focused. And to be really focused, you need to cut the rest of the project. You need to really be very strict on priorities. So the question I'm posing to you is, can you afford to cut the rest? Because it's always easy to say, and verbally, but then when you have the list of the projects, nobody wants to say, okay, I'm not going to do this year because I want to focus on a single big transformation, digital transformation project. The second point is that working together from the design phase with all the relevant functions. So again, the question we had to face was, can you afford to dedicate the key people? Otherwise, they can't make a decision. So it's not just by simply taking some people, putting them together into a room. You need to have the right people that have a skin in the game and they can make the decision in that particular room. Otherwise it doesn't work. Do they want to be part of the design phase, or will they wait for the functional requirement? Once more, even if you have the right people in the right room, in a single room, do they want to be part of the game? Do they want to change the way they do the project? It's not something that you can give it for free, or you can be sure of. There's a very strong cultural shift that, at least in my environment, was needed. And a very more tactical comment: do you have enough space? I'm very lucky because my bank it's always in the same place. I mean, our headquarters has only 4 floors, so it's very easy to stay together. But nevertheless, we needed a room that was big enough to put all the people together, all the relevant people together. Third point, it's another cultural mind shift, and it was one of the hardest for me from a marketing standpoint. You have to embrace the minimum valuable product to get the feedback. So from I want all, this is the product I want, this is the service I want, please give me everything, to let's go for the minimum valuable product in order to be faster in the development phase and get the feedback from the customer and keep evolving, keep getting feedback, keep changing, keep releasing. This is something that really was hard at the beginning for me to accept, because can you afford to have a minimum valuable product in front of the customer? Would you get very bad feedbacks because they won't understand that you did only half of it? How you will communicate? So the question is, can you be beta if you were a bank? Because we always think about the Google and those kind of. For them, it's easier because they were beta since the beginning. so their customer are kind of used to do. But in our environment, or at least in my experience, being beta is not something easy that you can pass to the customer. After all, you are a bank. But on the contrary, if you accept this idea, you can be much faster, and you can really get the feedbacks from the customer that can really help you improve what you are trying to develop. Fourth point is functional requirement only when needed, alias don't explain the obvious. So this is something, again, we struggle a lot to implement at the beginning, because once more we were used to work in a waterfall methodology. So basically the IT guys were waiting for the specific requirements for everything. So I remember when I was designing the digital platform and there was a search button, one of the colleagues was saying, can you send me the papers describing what do I have to do with a search button? And I started laughing, because I said, guys, if I need to give you a specific document for what a search button has to do, we will be wasting time for nothing. So once more, we need to be focused on doing the specific requirement only when it's needed. Otherwise, we should empower people to try and test and fail fast in order to promote a really proactive environment. So if the people are in the same room, if the IT people get part of the game since the beginning, and if they understand what's the outcome, where are you trying to go, what's the objective that you're trying to achieve, they will also feel free to try to give you something to test in front of the customer. And this is really valuable, because you won't have to waste time to do a functional requirement analysis of something that is really obvious. Another point is that is more on not on the front end, but it's again one of the most important if you want to sustain the digital transformation in the long term. It's basically redoing all your IT architecture based on microservices and APIs. APIs, it brings you a new type of culture and requires a specific vision and go-to-market strategy. For example, who will manage the API catalog once you have written the API? Who will update that? So it's just to explain API. I like this joke, because the first time I heard API in Italian means bees. That's why you see this fancy bee on the left. But it's really a key element of the new architecture that you need to have in place in order to be faster and to keep evolving, as I said before. And lastly, another very important point: you need skills, talent recruitment, and retention. Because you have to ask yourself, do I have the right skills in my organization? What's the deal between outsourcing versus insourcing of those skills? And the standard process selection doesn't work, at least in our let's say in our experience. And lastly, those kind of people, those kind of talents, you need to retain them, because they are very, very attractive for the market. So once you recruit one of those, you have to have a clear strategy of how to retain it, because otherwise you will probably do a very bad job for your organization, because you will pay high, and in a very small amount of time you will probably leave. So I will conclude with a couple of slides on the effort, but as I said before, I don't like I don't like to watch what I've did, what I've done, but I like to share what I will be doing or what are the results. So this was a little bit the effort that the project really took us from a marketing standpoint, and on the other slide it will be from the IT standpoint. These things you will get it via email, as Christina was saying before, so I will leave it to you, and if you have any questions, we can definitely talk later, or contact me on the LinkedIn. But just before we close, I want to give you the results of the digital transformation, at least from, let's say, the goal that we started before. And here are the mutual fund sales mix that we managed to reach thanks to the whole digital transformation I was talking to you before. So it's the mix of the new digital platform, the new architecture, and the collaboration platform that we brought together. If you look on the left, you have the number of you have the mutual fund mix by subscription. 48% of mutual fund subscription were done online, and on the right side of the chart you see by the amount. So 31% of the amount that was sold online. Everything was was done through CRM activities, so marketing campaign that were orchestrated by the CRM, and it was done via different type of messages, both banner within the digital platform, both SMS and email, outbound and inbound call. But this is what we managed to achieve. So I think it's an impressive number, at least from my experience. I'm more than happy to share what the other people in the webinar think about this number, because it is really something we are keen on pushing as much as we can, because this is really scalable for us. I think that's pretty much it. So thank you, and I'll wait for your questions.
Great, wonderful. Thank you, Antonio. That was really nice. Also, for the audience, thank you very much for asking all these questions. We received I think over 60 questions. So in the meantime, we've been very busy to try to curate them. Let me put in the QA screen here. There we go. So please also, if you have additional questions, you can use the question item of the GoToMeeting facility and ask them. Andrei, I would like to start with you. We received a lot of questions about what you showed the audience about onboarding. And one of the questions there is from a regulatory point of view and from a know your customer point of view. What type of limitations or what type of possibilities do you have? Initially in Russia, but also if you would expand to other countries, what do you expect you will be facing?
Thank you, Jouk. The limitation is that in Russia, you have to have at least one physical contact with the customer to identify, authenticate them, basically take a look at their documents, etc. So the way we do it is that once the customer fills in the application form, we have instantaneous decision irrespective whether it's a debit or a credit product, so we have all our decision making automated. Then the customer has the opportunity to select the date, the time on that date, and the place where they would like our representative to come and visit them. And we basically schedule that appointment and come to the customer's selected place at the selected time and verify customer's ID. We take photocopies of all their documents required. The customer signs the contract there and then. Our courier is equipped with specific PDAs allowing them to do all the scanning and sending the documents to us. Our verification team online, real time, compares the data. We use some of the technology allowing us to extract from the photocopies, extract the text and actually compare the text on the photocopy documents versus what's been keyed in the application, as well as some facial recognition technology, plus physical check by the verificator. And after that, we automatically immediately send a red light to the courier, and the customer then can start using the product. The whole process of signing and handing in the document takes around 5 minutes. During that time, courier normally explains about the benefits and how to use the product and answers some specific questions of the customer. After that,
okay, great.
After that, it's any other product that we want to upsell to the customer. We do it through digital signature, so no longer we require a physical presence of the customer.
You do this once, and you make it very easy by visiting the customer instead of asking them to come to a branch.
That's correct.
Great. I think that's very enlightening. So you still have the requirement for paper. You have a physical signature. You need to visit the customer, but you do this in person, and you kind of make it as convenient as possible. I guess also then for your rollout model, it makes sense to focus this on big cities. Where you can have the courier instead of working with remote locations.
We are covering currently all of Russia, which obviously we don't work in small villages, but generally speaking, provided there is volume, as long as it's economically viable, yes, we can deliver.
Okay, great. Later on, there will be some other questions about, the cost of the acquisition, etc., to whatever level you would like to share that. Regarding the number of customers, so Andrei, also another question for you is that you mentioned that you roughly, in being a year in operation, you managed to acquire around 80,000 new customers. The question from the audience was threefold. A, how many net new customers are that? Or did you have kind of a transition from OTP customers becoming a TouchBank customer? So was there kind of an internal sponsoring model? Or is it all net new? That's the first question. And the second thing, what are you willing to share in what type of customers they are, the amount of deposits, but also the demographics of these customers? Of course, you can answer these questions within the level you are comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, I am going to be very open. It's just that we're looking to prepare a press release where all this data or some more data will come out. But anyway, with regards to the cannibalization or using existing customer base of OTP, no, strictly forbidden. That was part of the kind of agreement, and the idea is that this bank was created to complement the existing business model of OTP. Which means that OTP currently works in mass market and subprime, so our task was to attract affluent and mass affluent segment. So this customer base is affluent and mass affluent segment, and we are very pleased to declare that. The only challenge for us is that in Russia, due to the macroeconomic situation currently, this segment is not expected to grow significantly, and that probably will give us some headache in the years to come. But it is affluent and mass affluent. We don't take any existing customers of OTP. They can come in from the open market. Surely we will not reject them, but we do not tap into OTP's database to cross-sell. The second question about the some of the figures, fine. The average deposit is 60,000 rubles, which is around $4,300, depending on the current exchange rate. So this is fairly high. It's higher than our original expectation, and it's higher than some of our direct competitors. So we're very pleased about it. We have a large number of customers that are making transactions between 5 and 10 transactions per month, and our average monthly spend in POS at the point of sale for the customer is around 47,000 rubles, which is nearly $1,000. So which for us is great. It means that they hold the deposit as well as spend their own money using our product. So we are quite chuffed with that.
Great. Andrei, thank you very much for your transparency. I'm 100% sure the audience is appreciating this a lot. Antonio, maybe we can go to you for another question. If you look at the strategy behind your digital transformation, what was the main reason? Do you want to lower your cost? Do you want to increase your income? Was it predominantly to satisfy customer demand, so the Net Promoter Score? What is, in your context for CheBanca, the primary driver and the primary rationale to do a digital transformation?
Thank you, Jouk. I think there were two main reasons behind that I was trying to explain in the presentation. The first one being recognizing that at the current speed we weren't able to achieve what we had in mind at the beginning. So for us, it was really important to be ready in September 2015 to kind of help the entire business plan that we announced in 2014, and we wanted really to be ready by September 2015. So one of the main drivers was be able to do all the many things that we wanted to do on time. And this was the reason number one. The second reason was also to keep acquiring, but specifically to keep cross-selling customer on the investment side in the digital platform. Because if you are looking at the commercial numbers, we were very successful in the beginning when we were using simple products, and we were very successful in the within our digital platform, within our original digital platform. Because when you are marketing a term deposit, you need a very good marketing campaign, you need a good rate, you need a very easy process of onboarding, and that's basically it, because there is no relationship. It's just a matter of transaction. Okay, so once the objects changed from a time deposit to investment, you really need to have a relationship with the customer. Otherwise, once the term deposit expires, the money will tend to go away. It's not our case, as I showed you with the numbers, because we were stabilizing the amount of direct deposit at 10 billion. And at the same time, we were growing the asset under management, so the investment. But to do that, we needed a platform. We needed a digital platform that was really able to talk to the customer, to get the feedback, to understand what the customer was trying to do in the digital platform, and to follow up with the different marketing campaigns. So these were the two main reasons why we really forced ourselves to really kind of, change the way we were doing projects and the way we were developing our bank.
Great, understood. Antonio, another question, and actually for you first, Antonio, and then after you answered for Andrei as well. The cost of onboarding. I trust, Antonio, you also do online onboarding and mobile onboarding. What can you share about the cost of the acquisition per customer if you compare digital versus traditional customer onboarding and acquisition?
So we tend to debate quite a lot on this point internally. Let's be clear, first of all, we onboard the customer from the digital platform, but not yet from the mobile app. It is something we'll do with the new release that we are working on. But that's just let's say an issue of feature, an issue of time, because it will be ready by the end of the year. Anyway, apart from that, let's go back to the cost of acquisition. Now, if you're looking at the digital arena, at least in Italy, the market is a little bit, let's say, overfulled, because all the players that are active in the digital eco space tend to have two kind of hook products that either are term deposits with good rates on the short term, or current accounts with zero fees attached and a gift linked if you put your salary into the current account. And if you are looking at the spectrum of the different offers, just by taking the value of the gift, then I'm not going to disclose how much is the cost for the bank, but just by looking at the special value, the nominal value of the gift, it goes from 80 euro to 150. That's the amount of the gift. On top of that, you have to pay the amount of the digital marketing expenditure, which is something every bank should. Every bank has its own, let's say, limit. I'm not going to do a full disclosure on that. On the other side, when we are comparing physical acquisition, we need to remember that we are paying for the cost of the people and cost of the rent. So it's a complicated measurement. But the good things on the digital is that you can really put limits on the amount that you are willing to pay. At the moment, if I have to do an overall industry, at least for the Italian market, which is something I tend to focus and know quite well, I would say that the cost of acquisition for a current account customer is between 300 and 400, all completed, the whole cost. That would be my figure.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And how's that for you, Andrei? I mean, the difference. I guess you only have digital onboarding. Eh? You don't have traditional onboarding.
We don't have anything to compare it to other than, for example, our branch-based competition as well as OTP Russia. But I'm not gonna disclose OTP's figures. But I can say that I'm quite happy to give the range. of our acquisition cost. And you need to, or everyone needs to understand that acquisition cost is also quite highly dependent not only on the channel you acquire from, but the product that you are offering. If you have a stronger value proposition, you're guaranteed to have a lower acquisition cost because of the direct traffic, for example, to your site and things like that. But our acquisition cost varies from $40 in dollar terms at the current exchange rate to around $100, depending on the channel, because we're also doing a lot of tests, and the tests normally put additional strain on the cost, because you try something new, and that normally costs you more. But generally speaking, between $40 to $100.
Clear. Thank you for sharing. Another one is, if we look at, and that's for Andrei, if you look at, people understand that you are doing touch banking in Russia as your launching market. The question here is, how are you going to how is the Backbase technology helping you to do the rollout cross country, or in general, this whole platform? How do you envision this?
Across Russia, you mean, or across international? Because the idea is that
international. I believe that the question out of the audience is that how do you do this across multiple countries? To the degree, of course, you can share.
I have again no issue with that. Probably we are one of the most transparent banks in the world by the sound of it, because we're happy to share quite a lot about that. The idea was to pilot it in Russia, and obviously we have to fine-tune a lot of things. And one of the prerequisites is that the whole technological platform that we build is based on best-in-class solutions, international, well-known, scalable, flexible, etc., understandable for the investors. Backbase, we are clients of Backbase. We are happy about it, and it's one of the examples of scalability and kind of market-leading technology. We are looking to fine-tune all of the parts of our business model, and then simply, where possible, it's not possible directly copy-paste in any market, but technologically, it is going to be very close to what we've built in Russia, and that is the whole purpose, that you kind of doing the first initial investment at a much larger scale, and then you don't have the necessity to actually rebuild it from scratch elsewhere with the new technologies. So hopefully it will work for us. There are examples of such projects being moved, from one country and replicated in others. Hopefully we will be able to achieve that, if not to 100% degree, but at least to around 80 or 90%.
Thank you for sharing. For everybody in the audience, we are around the full hour. We are really super overwhelmed with the amount of questions. I think there are over 100 questions right now. I think this is conservative. If you have to go, we would like to thank you for participating. The PowerPoints and the recordings will be available. But for the people that would like to stay, and if it's also okay with Antonio and Andrei, we can continue for another 5 to 10 minutes to really address some of the remaining questions, because I think there are some very, very good questions. Is that okay with Andrei and Antonio?
I'm fine.
Yeah, fine for me.
Yeah, thanks guys, super. So maybe Andrei, a few questions that maybe we can answer with like short 2 or 3 words, letters like yes, no, or so to simplify it, and we can speed up some of the questions if possible. Andrei, are you expanding? Does it in your business model? Does it make sense to expand into, for instance, business banking or basic wealth management capabilities?
We don't see that opportunity at the moment, probably because we have so much on our hand anyway that we need still to do.
You need to focus. Clear. Thank you. That's a very clear answer. If you have to choose between customer acquisition, like growing your install base, versus optimizing your bottom line, for the next 2 years, what would be your focus?
growth.
Growth. So number of customers. Thank you. That's very interesting. Can you share a little bit more about, you are introducing quite a few innovative new capabilities and new services. Do you plan to monetize in the future on these services other than the traditional banking income streams?
Yes, where possible, but there is a very fine balance. So we need to research with our customer base whether they will be willing to pay for certain products and services. But generally, yes, that's the idea.
That's the idea, but clear. Also, yeah, you need to improvise there, or at least test the market. Clear. Thank you. If you look at a lot of people in the audience are impressed also with the fact not only the onboarding process, but also the fact that everything is real time. As we know, in some countries that is not trivial. With your current approach, do you expect this can scale to 1 million customers? Is your current IT landscape capable of scaling? And why, if?
Our current IT landscape definitely is capable of scaling well beyond 1 million. We've stress tested that as well. We currently on board around 10,000, on average 10,000 customers per month. There is a potential to grow more, but as I said, the main constraint is definitely not technological, but the size of the segment we are playing in. And then the question will be, should we actually broaden the horizon into a different market segment? But at the moment, it's not the question for us.
No, clear. Adding 10,000 a month is already quite an impressive number. Antonio, maybe back to you. Short question, hopefully also short answers. About the robo-advisor capabilities you've been introducing, how much input does an average customer have to give the robo-advisor to actually teach it? How easy or how complex is the process for the end user to educate the robo-advisor to be meaningful?
Well, it's pretty straightforward. We have a 7-question questionnaire that gives the input to the robo-advisor for the amount of risk that the potential customer is capable of supporting. And after 7 questions, he will get an asset allocation straight in the face. So it's pretty straightforward.
Thank you. 7 questions. That makes sense. Another question from the audience. They see that you've invested quite aggressively in these microservices and in the API gateway. So also having the opportunity now to expose your digital banking capability as a platform service. In the context of the PSD2, the new directive here in Europe, how do you envision that to impact your business model, and do you plan to capitalize on that?
Definitely yes. I mean, I think as a challenger bank, it's definitely a great opportunity. I'm desperate to see really the technical details of how we will implement PSD2 and what will be the regulation on the specific API that the banks will be obliged to expose. I think for us it will be a great opportunity to provide value-added services that, for example, are already existing in the American market, but are not yet there in the European one, or at least in our Italian market. But we are definitely working on that, and I definitely think it's going to be an opportunity, a great opportunity for us.
Okay, thank you for that. One more, and unfortunately for the audience, it's really impossible to do all of them. Antonio, again for you, short question, short answer. Do you have a mid office? Do you have a back office? And can you tell a little bit about the relatively size compared to what you do digitally?
So back office, we have 2 levels of back office. One is internal, one is outsourced, because the whole model needs to be scalable as much as possible. So depending on the specific activity and depending on the volumes that we are facing, we tend to outsource quite a lot, or we tend to rely on our internal resources. So it's a 2-level back office. Okay,
great. That's very helpful. We're working here through the questions. Yeah, clear. There's also a few questions for Backbase. I will quickly answer them. Some people wonder, what is the Backbase technology and where does it fit? Backbase is a digital banking experience layer It acts like a portal and a mobile delivery platform. It can integrate to any core banking system. It can integrate to any other banking system you might have, and it can also integrate to fintech players. So the Backbase platform typically is used to leverage your existing systems and to present them into a modern, fresh user interface. So people call this a mashup approach. You make a mashup, a composition of different backend systems, and you make them easy and seamless for the end user. And ideally, you do this across multiple devices. So from a large screen to the tablet to the smartphone. You can do it in web-based user interfaces as well as in native mobile user interfaces. Additionally, Backbase is providing digital banking capabilities. So it's really competing with people like Fiserv, Mysys, Temenos that provide digital banking solutions. So on top of the generic Backbase experience platform, we have turnkey, out-of-the-box digital banking solutions, which we can offer as a white label. The great benefit here is that A, you can use Backbase as a turnkey solution to go to market quickly, but because of the platform nature of the overall solution, you can also very easily customize it, extend it, and create your own capabilities. So that's roughly what Backbase does. Both Dutch Bank and CheBanca are using us, and they basically have their own core banking system running in the background. What you also will see if you look at their user experience, it's very different. CheBanca has its own unique, distinct brand experience, as well as Dutch Bank. They have their own local core banking systems, and they also have their own processes. So I think that also clearly illustrates that with Backbase, you can really optimize for a specific brand or for a specific value proposition. That about Backbase. Let's quickly see if we have some final questions here. Let's do one few more, and then we really have to move this towards closure. For Andrei, about Dutch Bank, what can you share about how do you do credit scoring? Is that in real time, and can you elaborate briefly on how you do it?
It is real time, and we use the social demographic data captured from the application form. We use credit bureau data, and we use other public or openly available legal sources of data, which allow us to build some proxies to the understanding the customer better. And all that is done by another technological solution online as well, and it produces basically the decision. So the whole decision process takes less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks. Final question to both of you, and then we will wrap up. A lot of banks are struggling with kind of their organizational model. So the question is really, it's great to have technology, but if you could share with the audience one or two advices on how they should structure themselves from an organizational point of view, IT, business collaboration, what would be your advice to the audience on what is the number one or number two criteria to make the transformation effectively? Andrei, would you be so kind to give the first answer?
Yeah, thank you. I'm really glad about this question, and I think it's a fabulous point that it's not just about the technology and the money and what have you. It's also about people. We were lucky to build everything from scratch, including the team. We purposefully built a very flat organizational structure so that information travels freely between various levels of employees. And we also had the opportunity to work as a project team. So in fact, we've totally erased the boundaries between IT, commercial, risk, finance, what have you. So everyone worked as a team, and we are so happy to see that it's continued that way, partially because we actually invested in a certain way. We've designed an office space, etc. But also I think this whole spirit of the startup still remaining within the organization, although we can no longer call ourselves a startup.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very clear pointer for the audience. Antonio, how about you?
Yeah, on top of what Andrei said, I would say 2 points. First one is to be evaluated on the same business metrics, so both IT and marketing and sales. And the second one is to have a common budget. That's my key points.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. They make a lot of sense. All right, we're now really going to wrap up. It's 15 minutes over time.
Yeah,
Christina?
we already passed the hour, and unfortunately we need to end this webinar session. If you had a question and it has not been answered, we will make sure that we follow up via email. I will also make sure that everybody who has registered for this webinar will receive the slides as well as the full recording. A big thanks to our webinar guests for joining, but mostly thank you to the audience who has been so interactive live in this webinar. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.